Y'all listen, today we are honored to welcome a trailblazing leader whose work has inspired millions. She is a political leader, voting rights advocate, and best-selling author who has dedicated her career to fighting for fairness, equity, and the protection of our democracy. Y'all please welcome Stacey Abrams, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Miss Abrams, how you doing? Thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me. It's always my pleasure.
Absolutely. Always stop what I'm doing whenever I see you on any television show giving out information, and I bring it right back and share it. What's some of the things that you see as the biggest barriers to voter registration, and how can all of that stuff be addressed?
Unfortunately, over the last decade, given the changes to the Voting Rights Act, the evisceration of the Voting Rights Act, we've seen states make it harder to register. And that means putting more barriers in place, requiring certain documents that some people may not have. But the response to that is not to give up. It is to work harder and to get more people on the roll. Because we know that the intention of making voter registration harder is to discourage people from having a voice in their future. And so I'm so excited that today is National Voter Registration Day, because you can do it. There are some folks, unfortunately, as we know, who've been permanently disenfranchised because of past incarceration, and that's a problem we've got to work on. But for those who can vote, it's not just about registering for yourself, it's about registering for those who aren't allowed to participate in our elections because of past mistakes or because they simply don't know they should be able to have a voice in our future.
Ms. Abrams, how can these grassroots organizations that are out there better support these voter registration efforts, especially in the underserved communities?
Number one, don't wait for people to come to you, go to them. What we did in 2014 with the voter registration effort that we called the New Georgia Project, we literally went door to door across the state of Georgia, and you both know how big Georgia is. And so we went and knocked on those doors. We went into the churches, and we talk about it. Sometimes we presume people have already made these decisions or that they've decided not to. And for a lot of folks, they simply haven't been asked or told how to do it. One of the best ways is to go to vote.gov. You go to vote.gov, you can get all the information you need about voter registration in your state. I know this is a national program, and part of what I want people to understand is we don't have one voter registration rule. We have 50 different rules in 50 different states. So go to vote.gov to find the rules in your state. And then once you make sure you're registered, go and talk to folks in communities where you know no one's showing up. Because grassroots organizations are trusted messengers. If people trust you, they'll listen to you. And if they listen to you, you can persuade them that getting involved in this election, it's not about the name on the ballot. It's about the person in the booth. And we want all of our folks to be the people in the booth making decisions.
Good morning, Ms. Abrams. It's the Brad. I just want to tell you that we love you so much, and we appreciate the way you speak up for us, and we just love when you come here, so we can't wait to see you again. I just wanted to add that. But I've been getting a lot of text messages, you're welcome, and emails and things like that about voting. What role do you think technology plays in increasing voter registration, and how can it be used more effectively?
So in some states, you can indeed register to vote online. In a state like Georgia, we actually had a much easier process. Unfortunately, I think some people decided too many folks were using it, so they've made it more complicated, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. There are states, unfortunately, like Texas, where you cannot register online, but a lot of states do allow online voter registration. But one reason more of us need to register is that if we want it to get easier, we have to vote for people who want to make it easier. So it's the sort of cart before the horse. We're not going to get easier voting until we make certain that we hire people through elections to make voting easier. It's like having a bad boss. If you had the chance to fire your boss and get a better manager in there, you would. That's what elections do. Elections are about picking the people that we want to serve us. And if they don't do what we want, if they know we're going to show up and vote, they're probably going to get a little bit better just on the off chance we might have a voice in the decision.
So, Ms. Stacey, how can we better engage the young people, especially those that's voting for the first time, in voters registration and turnout?
So make sure that anyone you know, especially young people, that you ask them, are you registered to vote? And when they tell you, don't lecture them, invite them. Our tendency is to give them a lecture. Somebody died for your right to vote. That is true. But we want them to live for a better future. And that means we're going to help you get it done. I'm going to sit with you and go over the rules. My niece, who's 18 now, she was living with me when she turned 17 and a half. She has heard about voting for me so much that when she was 17 and a half, she got up that morning and put in her voter registration. And then on her 18th birthday, one of the things she was most excited about was that she got an email saying she was registered to vote. That kind of enthusiasm, that shared family commitment, especially for young people, when it's about praising them for engagement, not lecturing them for being lazy. When we praise for engagement, we are creating patterns that last a lifetime. So ask them if they're registered and then walk them through the process. Don't just say, go look it up. Go with them to look it up. Take them to go register. Do the work with them.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to join us this morning. Let everybody know how they can follow you in your organization.
Well, I would love to have folks sign up. Go to StaceyAbrams.com. You can learn all about me, and everywhere you go on social media, it's just Stacey Abrams. And I'd love folks to listen to my new podcast, Assembly Required, with Stacey Abrams, where we talk about issues like this and talk about the policies that we care about. And I just appreciate you guys having me on. And my last plug is that next week I have a new book coming out called Stacey Speaks Up, about how we get young people involved in solving the problems. It's a picture book. So it's about young Stacey and how she tries to help solve a problem when the rules aren't fair.
There it is, y'all. Stacey Abrams, y'all. More Rickey on the Morning Show coming up.